Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Game Junction Podcast, episode 108.
Repping Mario, both of us this week, bro. What's up?
I wasn't even thinking about it.
Wasn't thinking about it either, but we got some big Mario stuff to talk about, so it actually kind of works out a little bit there.
It works out perfectly.
Yeah, man, what a week, dude. It's crazy. There's a lot of stuff going on this week.
Yeah, crazy to think it would be like, oh, it's going to be a slow, quiet week. Nah, man. News stops for nobody.
Nope, never. I legitimately thought it was going to be a slow week, and nope. Stuff just kept rolling out. So I guess what's some of the stuff that we're talking about this week?
Yeah, so we got some news. Venom Last Dance. We got some reviews on those.
No, I think that's old.
Did you put this old stuff in here?
The orange is old. Oh, we forgot to delete that.
Brandon labeled it. I thought that was kind of weird.
That's my bad. I'm sorry.
Okay, make sure I'm reading the right thing. We got some, I guess, some of the proper stuff. We got some PS5 Pro releases. No, I'm about to say review. Actual releases. IGN kind of gave their thoughts on some stuff. We had Mario and Luigi Brothership just dropped. I was actually streaming that over on Twitch last night. Some new news about the Nintendo Switch. Obviously, the bunch of leaks seem to be continuing to go on for the the Pokemon stuff.
Yeah.
We got some news as far as the Pokemon trading card game goes, some Zelda movie updates, some Pow World news, and a whole host of other little bit smaller stuff to definitely talk about.
Yeah, for sure. So I actually, since you just brought it up, have you been playing any Pokemon TCG Pocket?
I have. I think I'm level 11 right now.
I'm
I finally passed you.
Yeah, you're tracking me.
I was intentionally trying to get ahead of you on the levels.
I
kind of went a little ham on the card
to be
packs.
honest with you, I don't even know how.
No, I went a little ham because they give you early on. They give you a bunch of those little time things to open packs faster. So I've used the open 10 at once 3 times already. I can't fast open packs anymore right now.
Have you spent any money?
No. Well, the problem is, the money you can't spend money to open packs faster, which I think was a good choice on their end.
You could spend money by doing the gold program where you can open 2 packs a day. I'm doing it because you get 2-week trial for it. So I'm just going to do the 2-week trial.
Yeah,
you know,
I did that.
Pull it up right now. 10... It might be time to open up a pack actually.
Yeah, because outside of that, which is a little negligible, you have to do missions and rewards and stuff like that. So there's no pay to win. If I can go out right now and buy as many Pokemon cards as I could possibly afford, financially would be a really bad decision. But I do like that. And then I was mainly going through and just doing a lot of the solo stuff. I was trying to get all the rewards on the solo missions because they just dropped a Lapras EX one.
Yeah, I saw that.
I finished the last 2 missions on the hardest expert one, which is win 20 matches. The problem is, the AI's deck is so stacked with EX cards, and it's just unless you've got the best electric Pokemon out there to do the bonus damage, it's almost impossible to hardly get wins unless you just get. You essentially have to get your best cards and your evolutions right out the gate and play them immediately, or your chance to win is just negligible. It's so frustrating.
Look at this bull crap ahead of me.
I'm halfway through at level 11 or something like that. Yeah, because I was opening a bunch of cards that I could. You do every few hours. You can open the.
Bro, you don't even have anything showcased on there. What am I supposed to look at? You don't have a showcase on there. You're not showcasing any of your cards.
I haven't updated everything. I was trying to just play the game. I'm sorry.
That's part of the game, bro. But I did get a new icon today, though, that you can. It's this week's Meowth, from the original card. I got that today, so that was kind of cool.
Yeah,
I
actually did my first solo match today.
I thought I was going to.
I did my first actual versus match today. I think I went 3 for 1 or 2 for 2 or something like that. And it was the first match that I actually won. We were a few cards in, and I just won because the dude just left and forfeited. Then the second match that I won, I don't know what the person was trying. I know what he's trying to do. He's trying to level up his Dratini into a Dragonite, but he had it in his open slot, and he was just slowly playing it terribly. So I'm just keep attacking it until I can take it out. I'm not gonna let him get a Dragonair or a Dragonite on me or something like that.
Yeah.
And he's just playing terrible. So I'm actually playing the game. He's trying to 3D chess it, and it obviously wasn't working out.
It's interesting how they cut the game down from the full game. Obviously, they make it more You get like a taste
simplified
of
and streamlined.
Yeah, it's very streamlined. Very, very
well,
streamlined.
I don't know how different it is. I guess the best way to look at this, and I might be wrong because it's been a while, because there's an actual app for the actual proper card game itself. It's not too much different from the actual card game itself, even if you have like the mobile app for it, where you actually play the full thing. Because when you open packs, you have the QR code you can download to open packs and that. But it definitely streamlines it, introduces you to the concept of how the game works. And it would be a good stepping stone to then actually playing the actual card game, whether that's in person or their other mobile app.
Yeah.
To then actually, understand like what you need to do. Because a lot of this time it comes down to just, if you don't already know, building a good deck matters a lot. And then it's a little bit of RNG with, getting your good cards, first and stuff like that. But
I'll be honest, I just kind of raw dog it with building the decks. I don't know if I can get into it that deep.
Well, no, you have the auto deck
collecting
builder
aspect of it. The card battling isn't as fun to me. I like pulling the
cards.
cards.
They streamlined it. Matches are pretty quick. If you don't know how to build a deck, just like, hey, I want to make an electric deck, auto build with the best cards, and you can go through and tweak a few things, so it simplifies that. But if you're just going through the solo section and just playing the AI just to get the awards, it's not the hardest thing. You get free experience, you're getting awards and stuff like that. Periodically you're gonna get like a card or something like that, or like I guess their version of the promo card and stuff like that. That's what I was doing a lot of, just to get experience.
Speaking of this, I mean, since we're talking about it, I found this pretty interesting. So somebody basically took it to themselves to find out how this would work. So apparently it would take almost 2 years to complete just the first Pokemon TCG Pocket set unless you spend money.
So unless I'm missing something, how exactly does using the money work unless I'm missing something?
So you pay, first of all, there's the $10 a month for premium. And with the premium, you get, I forget what the extras are, the EX cards, a couple of the EX cards you can only get if you have premium. So you got cards behind a paywall. And then from what I understand, because that adds up, like that'd be $150 a year. You've got cards behind that paywall. So if you want a complete card collection, you have to get premium.
But not to just to have a set of all the Pokemon themselves. Like if you don't need the multiple versions of different cards and stuff like that.
They're different. Like. They're different cards though. Like they're different numbered cards.
Because they said like if you just want a set that covers all the Pokemon, it's 30 days. You're just 87 with the premium pass. But if you want like every variant of every card, it's gonna take a lot longer, obviously, just because of the RNG and stuff like that.
Yeah. I haven't. What does adding glare to your card do? I haven't done that yet.
I don't know. I just play. I've been playing against the
have like a sparkle on it. I think.
I thought that was more outside of the special cards. It was more like the reverse hollow is what I thought it was. So it just adds. It's just you have
to like pay.
Makes
you
your card visually look different.
Type of thing that you collect to be able to do it, and you can do it to individual cards. So I don't know.
I can't remember off the top of my head. I've been just kind of passively playing it, so there might be a thing or here that I'm like missing.
Yeah, same. What do we got next?
Let me pull it up. I was trying to do something else real quick.
Oh, you're good.
We got some Death Stranding news. So apparently we've got that game now on the Xbox Series X and S. That was reported by IGN. No announcement. They just launched it over there.
Isn't that weird?
It's no longer a PlayStation exclusive.
So weird, like a stealth launch over on Xbox. I wonder why.
Well, I mean, this game is like 5 years old at this point. It came out.
Yeah,
I know, it came out exactly, or just a day over 5 years ago in November 7th, 2019.
It's just crazy because they were so dedicated to this kind of like being a PlayStation only game. Like that's the way they kind of put it out. It's been out for 5
years. This game's made all the money it's probably going to make on PlayStation.
Is it going to make any on Xbox?
More than it would if it wasn't.
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
to be fair, the amount of money that they poured in it, they didn't care to announce it, so it's like a quick little, we're just gonna like port it over here. We'll make more money than if we didn't.
Speaking of which, since we're talking about Xbox, we'll have our little show and tell, but I just wanted to show this off. So for our audio listeners, I'm sorry that you can't see this beautiful thing, but it is literally the most beautiful controller I've ever seen in my entire life. This thing is crazy cool. And
it's got gorgeous doll.
Textured grips on the back, and then it has these gold accents to it. You see like the D-pad there is gold, but then it's see-through, and you can see everything. It's so cool. Dude, I had to get it. It's so cool. I love it. And it has those textured grips on the back that really stick on your hands. So like if your hands get sweaty or anything like that, it feels really, really good.
No, it absolutely looks amazing. Sorry, I was trying to do a few other things real quick.
On the hub still, aren't you?
No, I was trying to fix a description that I didn't fully fix on Twitch. What are you doing
once again, that's why people aren't in.
So you say.
Okay, so we got this one is more up your alley. I thought this was funny because whatever, but Lionsgate CEO basically said that nearly everything that could go wrong did go wrong with the Borderlands movie.
Yeah, and I guess we can bring it up because I at least down on a little notes. There's another section for it about Take-Two and their thoughts on this as well. It just happened to be kind of the same thing. Everything did go wrong. You don't know how to cast, and you don't know how to write a script. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
The movie you
already
bad.
had an outline for a movie to follow. Just follow the games. You can tweak stuff here and there to adapt it, but like you already had an outline to follow. How do you mess it up?
It's beyond me. It's one of those ones where like I like Borderlands, but I have absolutely zero desire to watch this film.
I suffered to watch it when I went there, and it was a slugfest to not like fall asleep or start playing on my phone. It's kind of what actually happened. Because it came out and Lionsgate reported a $163.3 million loss in its quarterly earnings.
Ooh.
With revenues of $948.6 million, down from $1.01 billion from the same period a year ago. So, I mean, the studio as a whole didn't like lose a whole lot from year over year, but like that's a lot. It's still a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. Yeah, it's crazy.
But in the same breath, the Take-Two Interactive CEO says, "Oh no, the movie was they said it was disappointing. They said, hey, we sold more catalog." As like, yeah, sure. Maybe a little bit. You would have sold more if this movie wasn't absolute garbage. How many people saw this movie, thought it was absolute dog crap, or
it had zero desire to play the games after that?
If this movie was actually good, it would have driven far more people to this game. I
hope the Tiny Tina movie.
Frustrating.
I hope the Tiny Tina movie rumors are not true, because I think that would be the dumbest thing they could ever do.
Oh yeah, but this is one of those things. All they would is you're going to knock it out of the park with adaptations. Or it's something like this in Dragon Ball Evolution. It's just the worst thing you've ever seen. It's like, did you not watch or play the source material? Yeah.
I mean, yeah, what's going on? Like, do you know anything about Here's the thing. People that don't know anything about a particular series, especially with a diehard fan base, that they shouldn't have zero involvement with the direction of the movie because they don't get it. It should be a requirement that these, not even just the people creating the movie. I mean, for like the actors and actresses, it should be a requirement that you play and sit down through some of the games in a series just so you get the characters. I mean, it's studying for the film. You know, I mean, that's what it is. It's giving respect to the characters that so many people love.
But no, they're just like, oh yeah, we've totally played the game. I'm like, no, you haven't.
You haven't played crap
together.
You haven't played anything.
You have no idea how the creatures work. I can't remember the name of the creatures they had. Where the one scene where they're driving the bus through their creature. I think it was in one of the trailers. I'm just like, that's kind of like the games, not really, but like it's close. It was more like a, hey, see, remember this thing from the game? It's here and gone in 30 seconds.
Was it the creature that sounded like this?
No, it was like the worm. I think it was. I can't remember the name of the creatures. The worm, worm-like creature or something like that.
Oh, so it was more like.
Not even close.
Okay, all right. I tried.
But yeah, I don't know. They come out and they can claim whatever they want, but it's like, oh no, we
sounds like
we have more people pop up.
They're defending themselves.
Yeah, without actually posting like how much money that the games they can prove drove back to the games.
Yeah.
That weren't already fans of the games.
You're right.
that have been out for like a decade at this point. I'm like, how much more money can you really make?
Yeah, I know.
But no, we had some other information about the the creator of the Devil May Cry. Originally, apparently wanted to do a Dino Crisis anime. I don't even know anything about Dino Crisis.
Well, you commented on the meme
person
that I posted.
Yeah, the meme. Doesn't mean I haven't played the game. It's a funny meme.
It's
I don't know
Resident
about the games,
Evil with dinosaurs. It's a survival game.
No, I'm familiar with the game. I've just never played it.
They're really good. I would have much rather have seen this personally because it's such a wacky series that's got like no other mediums for it, so like it makes sense. Devil May Cry has gotten other stuff before. It's had other anime before, manga, everything you can think of, tabletop games. Dino Crisis hasn't had crap, so that would have been cool to see.
Yeah, because he came out and said, when I first went to Capcom in 2017, my mission was clear. I wanted to bring Dino Crisis back, but in an awesome twist of fate, they sold me Devil May Cry instead. I didn't think Devil May Cry would even be on the table. So, I mean, obviously, it seems like the creator was content to work on Devil May Cry, but had aspirations of another title that I'm sure a lot of people would have loved to seen as well.
Yeah, it's got a diehard fan base for sure.
Yeah, it was the creator's the creator was Adi Shankar, if I didn't completely butcher his name.
Oh, okay. Nice.
No, but I guess we got some other Sony apparently patented a PlayStation controller. Apparently in homage to the rewind button of, I believe, the movie Rewind, if I'm not mistaken.
Click.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know why I think Rewind. Click. The movie I haven't seen in like 15 years.
What would they need a rewind button for?
That doesn't actually rewind time. That was the whole gimmick of the movie.
No, I meant PlayStation.
Oh, I think it's just probably designed like that more as a PR stunt. Or maybe they're just trying to sell some clicks, little clickers, like a TV remote, but for the PlayStation.
They already sell those,
but not like
I
this.
have one.
It's the future, Brandon.
I don't know what you're talking about right now.
It's funny, but stupid. We'll ultimately see if anything comes from it. It was just a patent that they created. So who knows? They might just make one. Maybe there's another Click movie coming out. They're trying to like team up with or something like that.
Maybe it might be right.
No, we also got some news from Sega about a new Virtua Fighter in development. I guess the fighting game's your neck of the woods.
Yeah, I mean, this is good to see. We haven't gotten one in a while, so kind of surprising. I don't know how long it's been since 5. So Ultimate Showdown for Virtua Fighter 5 came out in 2021, but I think Virtua Fighter 5 was first came out in like 2005 or 2006. But then the whatever version came out in 2021 of it, Ultimate Showdown.
Yeah, Virtua Fighter 5 came out in 2006.
Yeah,
so like the PS3 and the Xbox 360 were a thing.
Yeah, and the Ultimate Showdown really all it really did was add in more characters, more stages. It wasn't really like a new game. It had some additional, I guess, story beats to it, but so you could beat the story in an hour.
Yeah, because didn't you hear something where, I don't know, it was on Twitter or maybe one of their heads came out and said something where it's like Sony or PlayStation just doesn't have that big of a library. I saw a meme and people were talking about like, oh, you mean this library of games you've just forgotten about?
Yeah, I mean that meme's accurate too. Like where's Jack and Daxter? Where's Ratchet and Clank? Where's all these iconic characters?
Was
Parappa the Rapper
theirs?
No, Spyro's not theirs, or Crash. But they were known for being PlayStation at the time.
Yeah.
But no, they've got a lot of properties that people forget about, and they just don't touch them. Sucks. I hate seeing that. So many properties that PlayStation has. It just hasn't gotten any love. So
yeah, I was trying to pull up see if I can find a list of games I've forgotten about. Yeah, so like a list that's somewhat of a list was like Gravity Rush is not a super old one, but you had like Dark Cloud, Twisted Metal, Motorstorm, what's it, Ridge Racer, Siren, Infamous, SOCOM, Sly Cooper, Legacy of Kain, Killzone, Ape Escape.
Yeah, Ape Escape's one that we haven't gotten one since like the PSP. So
that's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while.
And I'm sure you could go back even further if you go back to the original PlayStation and the PlayStation 2.
Yeah, because they even had we never got another sequel to The Legend of Dragoon, which was a PS1 exclusive JRPG. Yeah, there's a lot that we haven't gotten, any new games from in a while. So
yeah, bad Sony,
bad boys. What you gonna do? What you gonna do?
Some more news about Sony. Sony's making more money off of what they're calling a weak movie showing.
Yeah,
that's a unique way to title this, MSN.
So they lost money in the movie department, but they gained money in the video game department. So they came out positive, which is good. I guess. Don't forget,
they probably made that money off of just cutting staff.
Probably. It says the game sector annual profit outlook went to 35 billion yen from 320 billion yen, leading to a slight upward revision of group annual revenue forecast to 12.71 trillion yen, which I don't know what that equates to, but
all they gave us in the article is $1 is equivalent to 152.87.
Yeah, I'm not doing that math right now. When you're talking about the trillions of yen, no thanks.
Yeah, it's a lot of money regardless.
Yeah, it's a lot. But I mean, they're still in the positive, so losing money in the movie department isn't hurting them too much. So
no, but I mean,
I feel like tell me if I'm wrong, but PlayStation seems to be the main branch for Sony now, because obviously they make TVs, they still make 4K Blu-ray players, they still make a lot of electronics, and they also have Sony Music, so they've got they own music, and what else does Sony owns? Sony owns so much stuff. But it feels like PlayStation is their biggest cash revenue at this point.
Yeah.
I
mean, it is, but I mean, then again, you look at some other movies, and I'm like, how are you not making money on some of these? Or when you did have some of these IPs that are now part of Marvel and stuff like that, how do you butcher some good IPs? But I don't know. Then Disney's doing the same thing. So
yeah. So looks like you can get a 𝐀𝐮𝐲 and 𝐁𝐵𝐻𝐿 promo card free with TCG order of $15 or more at Pokemon Center with the code 𝐀𝐻𝐿𝐲 cards are us, or 𝐀𝐻𝐿𝐲 card US.
So essentially, if you're already in the market for Pokemon cards and you want essentially exclusive cards with the Pokemon Horizons logo on them, and you're going to spend $15, which you probably already are, on anything more than a pack, hey, you check out and get 2 free little cards.
I am a fan of Pokemon Horizons. It takes me back to Gen 1 Pokemon. It feels like that all over again.
Nah, man. Gen 1's the best gen.
I didn't say it wasn't the best gen.
I'd say
it gives
Gen
me
3
the
or Gen
feelings
4.
of that again, and I've had that feeling for a long time with the Pokemon anime.
I haven't watched the Pokemon anime in forever. I think I've tried to like a year or so ago, and I just couldn't get back into it.
See, you're not a real fan.
I'm no longer the target demographic for those games.
Who's the target demographic then?
12-year-olds.
Then why are you trying to do a living dex?
The games are different from the show. I'm sorry. There's a difference. It's a disconnect, apparently.
Oh, my God. I think it's for everybody, Mark, not just kids.
I mean, if you say so.
I said so. So that's how I feel about it. We got some garbage news about Gundam. It looks like Gundam Seed Freedom new prequel anime has been announced.
Yeah, and then if you're aware, you're watching this or after the fact, I technically on the Junction Network, there's a video that just went live about this. It's not like super in depth because we don't know a whole lot about it. It was just kind of like a good little plug-in.
I want to be excited about this, but the movie poster, there's too much going on with the Gundam. They look like aliens.
It's just the Gundams. You watch it for the Gundams.
They
like,
look
what else
like
do you want to see?
it doesn't look like the classic Gundam I love, though. It looks like Gundam mixed with an alien. All of them.
So you've never watched Gundam Seed, then?
I have watched Gundam Seed, but this looks different.
Because this is for the Freedom.
This is a prequel, technically. I get that.
For those that can't see it online, it's just one of the logos for the most Gundam Seed Freedom, but the special edition that they're currently airing in Japan through the 14th of November of 2024, which essentially they came out and said, hey, they're doing a special edition because apparently there are certain things they couldn't do. There was a timetable they had to meet, and they didn't have a lot of time. So I can't remember. I don't have it pulled up whether or not they just wanted to add more fidelity, or there are certain scenes they wanted to add to the special edition, or like a mixture of both. So it's like almost a year from when this originally came out in Japan, because I think the movie came out in like January, February of this year, back last winter essentially. And it just got like a proper English dub and released in the US back in the fall. But they were just doing this. But at the same time that this special edition for the Freedom movie came out, they also announced a movie called the Gundam Seed Freedom Zero, which is supposed to be a prequel to this movie, which apparently they had also come out. And the only other detail that we know is that the script for this movie had been completed apparently like 20 years ago.
Jesus.
Right around the time that Seed Destiny was done.
Wow.
But if you're not familiar with what happened, Seed Destiny, the second half of that show is kind of a mess. But if you don't know why it was kind of a mess, there was a lot of internal problems behind the scenes with some of the creators and stuff like that caused a lot of problems that essentially caused the second half of Destiny to kind of fall apart and the series just to come to a screeching halt, because Gundam Seed was like hugely popular in Japan in the early 2000s when it first came out.
Well, it
took 20 years to get follow-up, but apparently they did this other movie. It's like, okay, we're gonna do this new movie, and now we're gonna do a little prequel that ideally would, I assume, link something. I don't know exactly what they plan on doing with this prequel movie that we don't kind of already have an idea of what happened in this like 2-year gap or so between Destiny and Freedom.
That's pretty cool. I made you your own custom Gundam. I sent it to you on Messenger, by the way.
Oh, okay. No, I appreciate that.
It's called the Mark MKZ1.
No, yeah, but this news came out on the 1st of November when they were first doing this thing, and this is less about the Game Junction, more just to kind of plug, hey, we got more content and another video over on the Junction Network YouTube, so definitely go check it out.
Hell yeah, brother.
Finally get more content on that channel, so.
Let's go. I'm all for it.
But no, we also, this came out earlier today, some news about Rocksteady and Warner Brothers are, this is rumored to be in remaking Batman Arkham Asylum, after their whole debacle with Suicide Squad.
Thank God they need to go back to that.
But I would be more nervous because I'm like, after that, like, you've got the chance to butcher this game. It'd be what I'd be afraid of.
Well, here's why I'm not afraid of it. The new Arkham VR game has gotten nothing but raved reviews. People love it. They say it feels exactly like an Arkham game in VR. Like they're saying it has the feel of an Arkham game. And so it's made by that team. And so it kind of gives me faith that, hey, they still know how to make that game that we all love, besides Origin, of course.
Yeah.
Which wasn't even made by that team, but, so.
But I mean, at this point, they have to make it, because if they don't, it's just going to drive more people away. Like, why would I continue to come back if you can't even make this remake? This pretty much seems like they have to get this remake/remaster like right.
Yeah, they do.
Or else they'll just lose everything.
They have to, for sure. Yeah.
I mean, are you excited to replay this game? God, when did that game come out?
Which one?
Is it they talking Arkham Knight?
Arkham Asylum?
No, Arkham Asylum, my bad. When did that game come out?
2012, I'm guessing.
Because you said that, I was trying to like search it up as well.
I'm just
no, Arkham Asylum, 2009.
2009. Oh wow. Okay. So it must have been Arkham. Must have been Arkham Knight that came out in 2012 then. Or it could have been Origin. I don't know. One of them came out in 2012.
Because that was around the time that the like the Dark Knight Rises and that trilogy movies was coming out, right?
Yeah.
Like the dark Batman movies were like all the rage at the time.
I wish we would go back to, but yeah. I mean those games were
better
dark
when it's
too.
Dark and gritty.
Those games were dark too. They were dark and gritty.
I think they had to match with the movies, and that's why they did so well.
They did very well, man. I really want a MetaQuest 3 so I can play that. It's a system seller. I want to play that game so bad. I love Batman Arkham. I really do, and I really want to play that game. So I'm heavily considering getting a MetaQuest 3. It's on the list. I'm trying to debate because I need to get a Elgato Stream Deck first. It's more important, but like I want to play that game. So.
Oh. Do you think they've in both the movies and in the games, do you think they made the mistake of going towards this villainous anti-hero too much than what it used to be, which was kind of like clear, these are the good guys, these are the bad guys. There's very little gray a lot of the time.
I don't know. That's a hard question to answer for me. Because I feel like it's good both ways.
But it feels like they've gone more towards the villainous anti-hero than the standard at times.
I think the anti-hero is kind of the... You know, because, I mean, it's always been a popular thing. Think of Godzilla. We got to bring up Godzilla at least once. Plus, we're going to bring it up again later anyway. But Godzilla, you know, at first was a menace, but then became like an anti-hero, right? He came to save the day. And they were calling upon Godzilla, bringing him out to fight this monster that was destroying Tokyo.
But that's also a different medium. This used to be like you're talking about decades of comics.
I mean, the Punisher,
hundreds of thousands of comics compared
to for sure
a handful of
Venom.
But it's different when it's like you're just like of the vigilante type hero than there's a villain turn good or turn because like I don't know a little bit of gray or something like that.
He doesn't kill. He won't kill. So it's like
which always comes back to bite him in the ass.
Yeah, it always does, and. Like, we talk about how dark and gritty this stuff is, but, like, he doesn't kill people. While Superman has killed people. And he's the one that's... You know, it's... you know,
no, you bring that up, and it reminds me... Like, I think it was, like, a Robot Chicken skit where it's, like, Batman's like, I won't kill you, but he, like, beats the villain to death with just paralyzed for life. But I didn't kill him.
I remember that. I love the action figure segments when they did that stuff. Hilarious.
It's the same concept. You're like, it's like at times like you just like ruin this person's life. They're going to be in prison the rest of their life. And they're like paralyzed because you beat the crap out of them.
Somehow they always get out of Arkham Asylum.
The dark and grittiness of Batman. I think it fits him far better than any other setting.
And I'm hearing that the show The Penguin is really, really, really good. So I want to watch it. I've heard nothing but great things. So I want to check it out for sure. Because he's like, if you think back, he's one of like the real iconic villains for Batman. Outside of like Joker, like you think about the 90s animated series, Penguin was so attached to that series. He was one of the main villains. And in the comics, the Penguin was like, you know, one of the main villains as well. So I'd be like curious to see how they take the direction of that series with the Penguin.
Yeah, it's interesting. I can't get as bad or as cheesy as what the 80s and 90s gave us.
No, it's supposed to be very serious. Like it's a very serious show. So
because I've got one question for you, Brandon.
The long nose.
What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Surge. With Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I was about to say something really bad. So I'm glad
about
you
that.
said
I did a terrible impression, but that joke always cracks me up. It's so cheesy and bad and funny at the same time.
But I gotta say, Batman and Robin is a so bad it's good movie for me.
Oh, 100%.
Like I had the action figures for that movie and everything growing up. I got the Happy Meal toys.
Is this the era where Arnold Schwarzenegger, between his peak movie and he becoming the governor of California, where he just did like really cheesy roles?
He took every role that he could get. I mean, did you ever watch the movie Twins?
No.
Or did you ever watch the movie Junior, where he becomes pregnant? He's the first man to become pregnant.
He became Nicolas Cage before Nicolas Cage was a thing.
Like he took every role he could get.
Give me.
Yeah, I mean, the Twins is horrible. Junior's horrible. I mean, look, you think of Jingle All the Way, which I love, but that's like a big bad guy type role. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like he did comedies and he did, stuff like that. So this one I don't know anything about, so I'm going to lean over to you, but it looks like more Sweet Baby Inc. Information has came out.
Yeah, and we were talking about it, but there's
stuff.
always some news came out. But this was outside of all the criticism they've gotten. It pretty much says, they're not going to change. They're going to keep doing the same thing they were doing and stuff like that, which just means that any game that moves forward, and they're just coming out and saying, no, we're going to keep doing what we're doing. So any game that's attached to them is going to be blasted out publicly, and the more people become aware of it, it's going to hurt bottom lines for games. But these studios keep hiring these consulting studios, knowing well that people are gonna find out about it and just blast it all over the internet to try to like get games to fail, for better or for worse.
Well, I'll tell you what,
a lot of games they've worked on are bad.
I held myself from buying Dragon Age of Veilguard because I actually wanted to get it. I almost bought the collector's edition of it when I went to go get the PS5 Pro. I almost bought the collector's edition, but I'm like, I gotta stand behind my morals on this, because the stuff they did with that game, as good of reviews as it's getting, and my actual friends telling me it's good, I just can't do it. I'm sorry. I just gotta things. Well, I've heard mixed things too. I've heard some people say it's a slow game. It takes a long time to start, which Dragon Age always does. But I've heard good things most of the time.
But that's the problem.
It's already
even when I see reviews, like, because on Steam, it's either you recommend it or you don't. So it's either a 10 or a 0 in the numerical and how they rate it. I've seen a lot of people like recommend it, but they're like, this is like a 6 or a 7 out of 10 at best.
That's good to me. A 7 out of 10. I like to play 7s.
Yeah, but they say like the dialogue is bad at times. Like it's not.
So
it's not
the Mario and Luigi
game.
Brothership. At times.
Yeah, you expect that from a game like that, but like a game like this, it's like, oh no, the game gets better. You just have to get 20 hours in. I'm like, I'm not putting 20 hours of a slug to just get to the good part.
That's the problem, right? Like I don't have that type of time where it's like invest 20 hours before the game gets good. Like I just can't
I don't care
do that
if
anymore.
It's skippable. The scene that's blasted out where it's like, oh, I missed Gingy. I'm gonna do some push-ups.
Oh, crap.
Like it's just. The fact that exists in the game at all is just absolute nonsense to me. And on morals alone, I won't buy a game because I just think it's like it's not necessary.
Yeah, no, I get it. I was grabbing one other thing for my pickups. I forgot. So I figured we go ahead and break up the news real quick, show our pickups, and then switch back over to the news to kind of break up the show. Do we have any comments to hit or anything that we should address?
No, nothing so far over on the Twitch, so.
Okay, let me check to make sure. Oh, I apologize, Mr. Coffee and Ethereal Sapphire. Looks like we had a load of comments that I missed, and I do apologize. I was not paying attention.
No, good.
We got Mr. Coffee saying, if you want a good read, look up Wizard Magazine. They have a section called Amigo Theater, and that was the inspiration for Robot Chicken. I still have a ton of Wizard Magazine issues. I think Dino had an identity problem. They wanted it to be different from Resident Evil. That's why every Dreamcast game that came out kept changing its gameplay more and more. Yeah, I kind of agree with that. Ethereal said, I would be happy if Jack came back. But it's changed this idea of the anti-hero. If you want, I might be I think we had a bunch of conversations, so...
yeah, well, the anti-hero we were talking about Batman and stuff like that.
Yeah, it looks like the movie that hurt his career was Last Action Hero. Yeah, horrible Schwarzenegger movie. So bad. It's not good at all. Hey, what's up, Junction Network? How's it going? So, all right, yeah, we'll go ahead and break up our...
I was doing a quick little shout out in the YouTube chat, but I forgot I was still logged in from.
Yeah, you should be logged in. What's going on? I should be logged in on mine too. But
I should always be logged in.
Go ahead and show us what you got first, there, Mark, and I'll get
it's only really the one thing that I picked up this week. Actually, technically, I was supposed to have the Ethernet adapter for the Switch, but it got delayed. So next time we're actually playing Switch games online, I will stop disconnecting. When we're playing like Mario Party or something like that. But it was two things, and I also streamed this yesterday on Twitch, and then I'll probably at least one or two more times. I don't know if I'm going to complete it on stream, but I'll play it a few more times, at the very least. The Mario and Luigi Brothership, which I don't think is a terribly bad game. At least early on, I think the dialogue, at least for on stream that I was doing it, it's a little long. Like if I wasn't playing it on stream, 100% would just skip the dialogue because I don't think it's super important.
Well, see, I would say don't skip the dialogue in a Mario and Luigi games because they actually have a full ongoing story that actually matters.
It felt bad at times. Plus, I started to learn early on, don't just talk to everybody you meet because it's kind of pointless. They have stuff to say, but it doesn't really add a whole lot unless you're super into the world building. But that's like a personal opinion. I know. I was gonna say also I didn't pre-order it, but my GameStop also gave me essentially the pre-order keychains for it as well. So
I also didn't pre-order it. They gave me it. So yeah, I also picked it up as well. Like and while Mark was streaming, I played a little bit of it. He got way further than I did. I didn't get far into it at all, but I could speak on already the dialogue just being too heavy. If they just dialed it down a notch on the amount of dialogue, I think it would have made the game go up another star for me, another rating. But for me, where as far as I've gotten in the game, I'm giving it a solid 8. Like it's not an amazing game, but it's a good game. It's a fun, good
I'd say
RPG.
Like a 7.5 to an 8 is what I would give it.
It's a good RPG. I mean, it's a good. All the Mario and Luigi games, there's none of them I dislike. I will say this is so far my least favorite in the series. There's a lot of them, but I still think it's great. I mean, it doesn't mean it's bad. Just because I say something's my least favorite doesn't mean I dislike it, because I don't. And I want to see this game all the way through. I'm pretty excited about it. And I think that Connie's a pretty cool, neat new character in the series. Weird with the like spark plugs coming out of her hat. Like, it's interesting how the whole thing works.
Electricity thing they went, especially with some of the names and stuff.
Then there's also Snoutlet, which is like a pig. And
he said he's not hybrid. A pig. Don't call him a pig.
Yeah, it's like a pig bird hybrid. One thing I didn't like about this one though that the other Mario and Luigi's didn't do as much. Hey, what's up? We got a bunch of people dropping in now. Luigi just seems like he just follows Mario and is kind of useless. Because in the other games, what's so cool about some of the other Mario and Luigi games is that they actually separate. They don't stay together the whole time. So like part of the story, you'll play as Mario and then it switches over to the scene with Luigi and then like switches back and then you'll end up meeting back again with each other. And then like Partners in Time deals with baby Mario and baby Luigi as well as Luigi and Mario. So you have to you play as all 4 characters. And then Bowser's Inside Story is like a whole unique thing too, where you're like literally inside Bowser. You get separated again. So like that, there might be more that happens that we don't know yet. Apparently this is like a 15-hour game. So you're getting a pretty good chunk of change for an RPG of this caliber. So definitely happy and excited about that. Do you have anything else to show before I go through mine?
No, that was like I said, it was the Ethernet adapter that I kind of ordered. It's not really something to show off, but it was just kind of delayed.
What do you mean? That's a cool collection piece. I'm going to get one just to have it.
It's not a collection. I'm actually going to use it. So
well, I know I'm not, but you know. So I also got one I'm probably the most excited about, but haven't opened yet because I'm already playing other RPGs. And I just cannot add in a 5th RPG I'm playing at once. I just can't do it with a game like this where I really want to have my attention and focus on it. I love the 𝐒𝐫 games. They are among my favorite RPGs ever, in my top 3 easily. So 𝐒𝐫's 10 Nordics was an instant sell for me. I can't wait to. So I've already played the game. I'm already 4 hours in. Here's the problem though. This got sent out to me by NIS America. I didn't buy this. That's why it's not open yet. I played the demo, which is 6 hours long on the Switch. So I made it the 4 hours in, and I would have to restart to actually play the full game on a different system. So, yeah.
That's actually pretty dope.
No, it's not dope. Kind of sucks. I put all that time into the Switch because I thought when I was going to buy it, I would get the Switch version. But before I could even buy it, this came in the mail, and I'm like, oh, that's awesome. But now I got to start over again. So, yeah. I also picked up a game I have been eyeballing since the day it released, and I've been waiting to find it for a good price. I love the series, so I'm really excited about it. That would be Naruto Boruto Ultimate Ninja Storms Connections. So I've been waiting to find a good price on this. It was a $60 game for like a long time. I wanted to get it since it came out. One of the cool things that was sold me on this is there's over 130 ninjas available in the game, which is crazy. So you got all of the Naruto, you got all of Boruto. So it's kind of like, it kind of reminds me of Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, where you've got characters from Dragon Ball Z, GT, Super, and Daima all in one. So this is the same deal. You're getting, you know, from both series, you're getting Naruto Shippuden, and you're getting Boruto characters. So I'm really excited to check this out. And this is one I specifically bought this for me and Mark to stream. So I'm hoping he could try to find it maybe at the same price or something at GameStop. It was $27.99. And then I actually had a $5 coupon. So I ended up paying basically like $20 for it, which is a really good deal if you ask me. I've been waiting to find it for a good deal. So this is a rainy day stream game. So hopefully we get to stream that soon. Another game I've been eyeballing for a long time is the Samurai Showdown remake. It's finally got marked down to $15, so I went and grabbed it. I've been waiting. It's been sitting at like $40 for months and months and months, and it's an SNK title, Neo Geo. I love SNK. None of their fighters ever let me down. I just truly love their game, so I'm really excited to dive into this. I'm interested to see how a Samurai Showdown remake is. So for our audio listeners, head on over to the video to check out and actually get to see what I'm showing off here. Need to clean up that box. Yeah, that was me trying to peel the sticker off earlier and it didn't come off.
Yeah,
so
I'm one of those people. The moment I start seeing it,
Goo-Gon.
I stop it, and I'm like, I'll deal with this later.
No, what I do, I just take Goo-Gon to it and it comes right off.
But until that happens, I don't keep any of that at home. I just like I'd rather have the price tag on there than just be like a ripped sticker stuff. But at least my GameStop's pretty good, at least when they put it on there, because they fold on the tab, so it's easy to kind of start the peeling process without damaging the actual plastic too much.
And the big boy for this week,
we got some of this bougie right here.
Got the PS5 Pro. What I'm not showing off is the separate stand I had to buy and the separate disk drive I had to buy. So you're $700 deep on just this, and you got to buy the disk drive for $80 and the stand for like $30. So unfortunately, I can't show you the system. I'm not even going to dare move it. I'm scared to do anything with it. Like I don't know. I don't want nothing to happen to it. I have not gotten to spend a ton of time with it yet. I threw in 2 games that were PS5 Pro enhanced, and they looked freaking phenomenal. And then I went and threw in a PS4 game because with the PSSR, something they didn't really advertise. I don't know why they didn't really like put this out there. They should have. But PSSR will take your PS4 games and essentially not just upscale them, but make them look better, like almost like a different game. So I threw in, what was it I had out earlier? Doom. I put Doom in and was checking it out, and I was like, oh my god, this thing like runs really, really well. It looks good. Visually, you can see where like there's the PSSR is kicking in. I was like, holy crap, like this, you have to see it in person. You just can't see it over a video. You can't.
But is it worth the $800 upgrade if you already have one?
If you already have one, no. No, I would say
at that point,
it's not 800, it's 700. I'm just saying if you want the disc drive, it's over 800 if you want the disc drive. And the stand, and then you got tax and all of that. Would I say for the diehard that already has one? Yes, I would say yes. But what this is really, I feel, targeted for are the enthusiasts that have the very high-end TVs, like the LG C4 OLED TV, or who already have an 8K TV, and actually can take advantage of this, or you've got a monitor that's 360 hertz and really takes advantage of this.
I still think you're better off just getting a PC at that point if you want high-end gaming. But
I with don't know if I agree with that entirely, because you want high-end. I mean, just for my Intel i9 14th gen, it was $500, Mark. That's just for the CPU.
But you get better performance across the board with like a $1,500
But by the time you go and buy what would be comparable
more with
this,
the PC than just play games. You have the ability to mod and do other things and stuff like that. You're not stuck with just a box.
No, I get it. I like PC. I plan on upgrading my graphics card from a 4070 to probably a 4090. I like PC, but I think that it costs too much to get. The entry point for PC is so expensive, man.
But at this point, with a $700 price tag, it's not much more.
This would equate to basically like a 4080. So price out, you can look it up if you want. Price out a 4080 right now, and then count in the $500 CPU, i9 14th gen. If
that's the equivalent of a 4080 and they're selling it for $700, they're losing a lot of money on it.
Because of PSSR
but DLSSR is the same thing that's already exists default on every modern graphics card.
It wouldn't be a 4070. I can tell you that. This looks better than my 4070 on the PC. It just does.
You're probably bottlenecked somewhere else.
I can't. PC. Where I've got the best CPU.
100%. It's if it's better.
I'm running.
They're losing a lot of money on that. Then they have to be. There's no way they have equivalent hardware, and it's like half the price of a PC.
I love that a lot of people are coming in as we're arguing. No, I'm not. I'm not arguing against PC. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. If you can afford to get into it,
it's not going to be the same. Especially if you consider the TV that you need that most people probably don't have. That's several $100.
This is not for most people.
Properly display it.
This is not for most people.
No, I'm just saying if you add in the cost of a proper OLED 4K TV that needs to display it, that's just as expensive, if not more, than the equivalent of a monitor that's obviously significantly smaller.
Well, I'm pricing out monitors right now, and actually the monitors I'm coming across are more expensive if I want to have all the capabilities that this system can take advantage of. So I was looking
at the TV itself is cheaper, which you could in theory still use with the PC.
You can get a 4K 120 TV for $300. I've got one. That's what I have.
TV just doesn't usually work the same ways as a traditional monitor when it comes to gaming.
It usually doesn't unless you go like the C4 route, the LG C4 where you're going the real high end TV. Then it does. It's got the variable refresh rate, the audio low latency mode,
but it's also like HDMI at the smallest end, it's like a 40 to 50 inch screen TV. You don't really get a much smaller than that, which is too large for any practical gaming application when it comes to a PC. With how close you're going to end up being to the screen.
Mr. Coffee said that game is rare. I didn't know it was rare. I had been eyeballing it for a long time, and it was like $40, and I was just like, I don't want to spend $40 on it. But they had it for $15, and I grabbed it. And they added rollback netcode. That's really
But he
cool.
also said like a mid-range $1,100 to $1,500 PC. Just the tower alone. You're gonna have equivalent stuff with that. If you know how to properly set up you need to make sure your settings. There's a lot of settings and stuff you can do that add more load that don't really do a whole lot for certain games. So there's a lot of settings you have to go through and properly optimize it. And there's obviously a lot of stuff that will optimize it based off your hardware. And he also mentioned like, you have to, constantly upgrade it. But I mean, like at the very least, you're on, if you have the money, every like 2, 3, 4 years, you can keep your PC up to date. That console is going to very quickly, go away, but you're gonna buy it like every 4 to 6 years.
That's the life of a console, though, right? Like this. Yeah, but this is gonna be good for 4 years, and we're on the PS6.
So far beyond where you bought that, so maybe at launch it's equivalent, but in 2 years it's already left in the dust.
And that's why we get a new iteration. That's the reason.
But it takes longer for the hardware stuff like that, and it ages so fast.
Mark, I think you're missing the point. The point of a console is to plug and play. That's it. You don't have to mess with building anything.
I'm always gonna fight back, and it's not just because the whole PC Master Race stuff. Even though it's a funny joke, but like it's for that price tag, you're just never gonna have the same equivalent. I still play my handheld games. Like I still play retro games. I don't care about having. It doesn't matter to me about having like the highest spec'd out PC or whatever, having the equivalent to what the PS5 Pro is at a, I'm not even going to say $1,500 price point. I want to say like an $1,800 price point. You might as well go to the $2,000 at that point.
You might as well, which is the problem. That's the problem right there.
Like at $2,000 to $2,500, you get a fairly high
in this economy that we're in right now. Who has 2,000? I mean, and here's what I'll say, by the way.
One of the 6th or 7th job at that point.
Let me tell you this too, because I definitely don't want people to think I have money or anything like that. I traded in my PS5 and I got almost $400 out of it. So I traded that in, plus traded in some games, used credit I already had there. So all in all, I only spent like $230 on it. Pretty good.
At that point's not terrible, but like, to be fair, you know, your PS5 needs to be in decent condition, and the more time goes on,
all my
very
stuff's
quickly
in
that price tag, that trade-in value is going to start dropping. In the next year
it hasn't yet, so get on it. I mean, I was in there day one, and it was almost $400. It was like $378 or something, which to me is fair. I mean, I've had it since launch, and I'm happy with it. I'm super happy with it. So,
but here's the real question. Will the PS5 or the PS6 Pro break $1,000?
I think it will be at a price point of $999.
I mean, in another 10 years when we get it, probably.
I just think with the rising cost of hardware, where we're at with hardware and where we're at with like PC building, $1,000 entry, if you have, I mean, obviously we don't have any idea with specs right now, but let's just say it's equivalent. A PS6 is equivalent because we're going to already be outdated PC wise. We're already going to be looking at the 5000 series, right? We already know that that's in the works. That's happening. It should be announced by December. But my guess is that the PS6 will be equivalent to like a 4090. But at that point, it's going to be quite outdated when, you know, considering PC. But we're at the point of diminishing returns, and that's the problem, right?
That's where AI starts to come into play.
That's where DLSS, PSSR, all of that stuff is important. That is the only reason. That is the reason that I wanted it. Because I believe fully in DLSS. I believe it is an absolute game changer, and the fact that I can throw in a PS4 game and it looks and runs better than it did on the PS5, the PS4 Pro, or the PS4 is absolutely insane to me because it's not even advertised. That's not even really advertised at all. That's a capability.
But that's what I would expect it to perform better to some degree at the very least.
For a PS4
no, but
game,
I was just going to say the fact that I disagree with the idea of diminishing returns because the ability, maybe the graphical fidelity is just hitting a hard limit with the amount of pixels that you can just perceive through the human eye on screen and stuff like that.
I mean, we can't see
the
past
amount
8K.
of processing power that we're getting is leaps and bounds higher, especially with like the CPUs. Like the amount of cores and processing power they have is always drastically moving forward and getting higher. But if you've seen with a lot of their new ones, what's it, the 13th and 14th gen that came out last year, is they're more intricate, but that means they're more prone to have problems and break far easier than may say with the same thing.
That's what I have
10 years ago. No, I had that problem when I first bought it.
You don't have the i9 14th gen though, do you?
I believe mine is the 14th gen.
Or is it the i9?
Mine, I believe it.
You have an i7 from what you sent me on your list.
No, I've got an i7, but that doesn't mean it's. i7 and i9 have 13th and 14th gen.
No,
it's just
I know that.
Levels of things.
But what you sent me was that you had an i7. So I mean, like, it's a great CPU, and I mean, I wouldn't say like a 4070 is really only good for 1440p gaming. It's not meant for like 4K gaming, and the PS6 is designed from the ground up for 4K gaming as well. But it also
because the i7 147K that I have is a 14th gen processor.
So that's where my comparison of it being closer to a 4080 is that the fact that my 4070 is not meant for 4K gaming, it's meant for 1440p and 1080p gaming. The the PS5 Pro is designed for 4K gaming at 120 frames per second at the same time. With a variable refresh rate and auto low latency, which I cannot do. And I've got the best CPU. I've got a good GPU. I mean, 4070 isn't bad, but it's not even to be fair, outside of
the enthusiasts that probably already have equivalent PCs, how many people, honest to God, actually have 4K proper 4K displays.
I'm getting 4K monitor. I mean, I want a 4K at least.
I mean, because we still do it now. Every time
hertz.
Steam does their hardware
to
stuff,
me it matters.
And I just did one a little while ago. Most people, even on PC gaming, are still most of their
1440p is a great option.
are still 1080p.
1440p.
That's what just most people game at.
1440p is a great option. I think it's awesome, but I'm not like a graphics whore. It doesn't have to do with that, but the resolution of 4K for me, I have bad eyesight. It just looks better for me in person. I've got a 4K TV, and I can compare it to my 1440p monitor, my 1080p monitor, and see the difference. I've had them all hooked up with the same game, and it's I see shockingly better with the 4K, like I just do with my eyesight. But we're getting to the point of once you get to 8K, we can't see with the human eye past 8K, right?
No, but you can see the resolution, the refresh
really
rate. 100% matters.
You can really only see the 8K difference from 4K if you're looking at a 50-inch or bigger TV. Like if you're playing on a monitor, it's useless. It's useless.
Well,
there's no reason to play on an 8K
at a certain
monitor.
size, you can only fit so many pixels on the screen. There's just a hard limit. That's why these high resolutions require larger screens, because you just need the more pixels on screen.
Mr. Coffee said, I think it's the cost, but the price tag of PS4 Pro, it just means we might see future consoles going for $2,000 or $1,500. People do have that money because people are buying iPhones at $999 or more every year.
Those are also on payment plans. Just want to put it out there. When you buy like a phone plan like a Verizon, you're paying that over like 2 years.
Mine was $1,300 because I went with the 1 terabyte model. But yeah, I'm payment plan. So I do a lot of video and photos, so I had to go with the 1 terabyte. Ethereal Sapphire said the PS6 Pro is 1K. Nobody is buying that. You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised though.
You have to take into account inflation, and over since 2020, there's like an average like a 20-25% increase in just the cost of everything. And with inflation, like once prices go up, they hardly ever come back down. Like inflation is usually a fairly permanent thing.
The rumored prices for the 5000 series, from what I remember seeing, were absolutely ludicrous. I mean, the 4090 is already
they're going to drop
crazy
in price
expensive. I mean, you're looking at $1,500 for just a graphics card, and yes, they will drop down.
I don't remember. Did we get a whole lot of the specs of those?
No, not much. Not much.
So we don't know exactly what they're trying to put into that.
Yeah, we've gotten little tidbits, but it will be announced by December, so we will know, and it'll probably be released by March of next year.
Yeah, and I'll say this, like kind of like with the games, like if you want to upgrade immediately and you want to do trade-ins, you essentially have to commit to upgrading out the gate, while say your 4060, 4070, 4090 still holds a significant portion of its value before it drops below the point where you just kind of, it's not worth like selling it, or you're just getting like a chunk back. Most people that want to upgrade, they're gonna sell a used GPU every year, so where they can get like 60 to 80% of their cost that they bought on it back. Which makes the upgrade
a graphics card towards another one?
What's that?
Can you trade in a graphics card towards another one?
Depends on the site, but if you want the most money, kind of like trading in games, you sell it yourself. Secondhand at a price. You go online, you post it yourself.
The problem is you got to have the other one in hand before you're doing that, obviously. So
it's a mixture of both. Some people will do the same things. Once they kind of guarantee it's sell to buy the other one, you might be down a week or so waiting on it. But essentially, regardless of how it plays out, you're saving a significant portion. So they say the next one's like $1,500, but you have like a 4090 and you got like $500-$600 back. Well, that
you better get more than that. Those are $1,500 graphics cards.
I don't know. I just put a number out of my ass. I don't know the exact, 4090 secondhand market right now. I don't have it pulled up.
I don't. Well, I mean, I do because I was, window shopping them. But I will say this: if you are wanting to get a PS5 Pro trade and you want to trade in, do it now, because GameStop is going to lower that trade-in value real soon because they're going to have too much stock.
It's essentially supply and demand, like it, and eventually, because the PS5 continues to age,
that was a good deal. I'm not a GameStop trading guy at all, but to me, that was a good deal towards it. Almost $400. I mean,
no, but like you also have the other thing is this is a new thing that most people coming in will be, at that point, this is the better thing, but also the PS5 is starting to age of it. That you have that issue with the hardware just getting older.
Aging, which is one of the reasons that the PS5 Pro I think does matter. And the PSSR
but also in another 2 years when they announce
the
PS6, that's going to cause the price to drop again because everyone wants the new thing. Who wants an out of date console at that point?
Yeah. My guess is that we're looking at 4 years. So I think we're looking at 4 years of this, and obviously we had 4 years. It would be a total of 8 years for the PS5 because that life cycles are usually 6 to 8 years. And just guessing on how they did the PS4 Pro, we're probably looking at 4 years of this being the standard. They're obviously going to be pushing this model more than any other.
They're going to push it, but it's going to be like
going to sell the way that a PS5
I'll make a guess. The PS5 Pro won't make up more than 10 to 15% of the total PS5 inventory that's in the consumer hands.
12%.
I think it's in that range. I just don't think most people aren't going to care enough, or it's just not fine. It's not worth it for most people. Most people that if they wanted a PS5, they already have one.
I'm a gaming enthusiast. This is what I love. I love upgrading stuff. I love checking out the new hardware. I'm an enthusiast. I'm a gamer. I'm a collector. I love this stuff. This is what I live and breathe. It makes me happy. So for me,
but I guess I'll say this just because Mr. Coffee, because he talked about picking up a PS4 Pro for $40 with 3 games. The best time to buy consoles just to collect is right, within the few years that it's like the last gen, where nobody wants it before it becomes retro. It's out of stock and people start looking for it again. So it looks like the time this is to get a bunch. Well, I would say get PS4s, but it's backwards compatible. But like, I don't know, buy a handful of PS4s, and then maybe eventually people want to buy them again down the road.
I can make a suggestion, though it's not a cheap suggestion, but it's an idea for people that might be listening to the podcast or are watching live. I've got a PS3 hooked up right next to me. It is the backwards compatible original launch model. So it plays PS3, PS2, and PS1 natively. It has a PS2 built inside of it. So it plays it natively. And then I've got the PS5 Pro here to play PS4 and PS5 games. So I can play all the PlayStation games right next to each other here, ready to hook up at all times to my HD60X if I want to stream or whatever. So that is my recommendation, because if you want to play them natively without having to have 5 consoles hooked up, that is the way to do it. For sure. It took me, I will say this, it took me about 5 or 6 years to find a launch model PS3 to be able to do that, though. Because if you find the other PS3s, all they play are PS1 and PS3 games. They don't play PS2. This has a PS2 built inside of it. There's an entire PS2 inside of it. So that's the biggest library and one of my favorite libraries ever. PS2 library is absolutely insane. So that was that's how I do it. That's how I play all the PlayStation
Here's
games.
A good idea for like a homebrew project. Wholesale unrealistic for an open market, but something like if you had the means to like make your dream gaming room or something like that, essentially you just have a giant wall where essentially it's a giant computer built in. So you like have like, here's where I can plug in all my PS1 games. Here's my PS2 drive natively, where you just take the hardware and just like wire it into like a giant box on the wall built with a built-in TV and stuff like that for all your systems. So you essentially cannibalize like all the hardware for every system, but you put it together in one giant gaming console, if that makes any sense. Think of like the old entertainment systems where you'd have like movies and books on the side and you'd have your TV in the middle. Same concept, just a TV, but it's all like built in together, if that makes any sense.
So explain that again.
No, think of like a homemade entertainment like they used to have, where you could put like movies and stuff on the side. You put like your game or your DVD player down below with the TV in the middle. But instead, you just have like a TV built into the essentially a giant, what looks like a computer. But you just have like little areas where you plug in like, here's where my PS1 games go, here's where my Xbox games go, and stuff like that. It's like a homebrew all-in-one project or something like that. Would just be kind of neat.
That'd be kind of neat.
But it's easy. Like you could pop off kind of like servers. You could pop off the drawers in the back and go through maintenance, everything, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You said that, and that idea kind of came to mind. Wholesale, super expensive. You gotta know what you're doing and stuff like that. But that would be like a really cool thing to do.
Yeah, that would be cool. I gotta ask you, because you never told me, and I hope you did, because they're sold out. And you'd have to pay $1,000 on eBay at this point now if you didn't do it. But did you pre-order an Analog 3D?
No, I didn't.
Oh man,
they're out of stock now. But there's some of their other stuff
now.
is in stock. It's out of stock. I wouldn't buy it now. Wait and see. Good chance they end up bringing it back.
They usually restock the consoles one time, but they sell out in seconds. I mean,
Well, at that point, why not just keep making more of them?
Because they're a boutique company, and that's what they do. It's like limited run games. They make a limited amount of consoles. That kind of makes me sad for you because I of all the consoles I think of, when I think of you, I think of the 64.
I just don't have the money for it right now.
No, I get it. Hopefully the opportunity
0% chance
comes.
I'm getting ripped off on the new open market. I'm just not doing that.
No, I'm not telling you to do that. I'm just saying.
And there's
already,
obviously,
if you look on eBay, look it up real quick on eBay. See what they're going for right now. I'm curious.
But they haven't even shipped out yet. People are just pricing stuff online.
But they always do it. It doesn't matter if they shipped out. They secured a copy. So at that point, that's all that matters. It'll get shipped to them, then they'll ship to the buyer. So I'd be curious because it looks like it's going to be coming out early next year. So I'm guessing by March they should be shipping. I am extremely excited. The reason I brought it up is because the controllers went up on for pre-order today on Amazon. The new 8-bit Do controllers that they made specifically for this. You can buy those. Those are available on Amazon.
Oh yeah,
right
I saw
now.
those. I'm like, if they ever come back, I don't know why they would keep it. Why list a bunch of stuff once it's like sold out forever?
I
like their Mega
little...
SG, Super NT, and other stuff like that.
They'll never bring them back. I wish they would because I missed out on all of them.
Why just leave it sold out on your page and get rid of it?
I don't know. I wish they would bring back every one of those because I would buy one of all of them, and that would be my way to play those retro games. It makes the most sense. It's brand new hardware that will last the rest of my lifetime. But I was wrong. It looks like, I mean, they're not nearly as bad as I thought that they would be. I see $395 buy it now, $415 buy it now, $439 buy it now for the black. Apparently the white sold out first, and the black was available for the rest of that day. I wanted the black anyway, but now I kind of wish that I would have went with the white because I didn't know it was going to be the more popular model. My thing with the white is
I don't get why the white's more popular.
And I don't know either, but it sold out immediately. The white did, and the black stayed on there for a little bit. Yeah, so it looks like it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I'm curious. I'm
not paying $400 for it. $400. I wouldn't pay that much for it.
No, I wouldn't either. I don't blame you. Don't blame you at all.
But I guess we can move on to some other things.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was a little stuffy in my nose for some reason. We got some news that apparently there's a Hogwarts Legacy is getting a sequel, and it's currently being developed right now. Over at I don't remember if it was Warner Brothers Games or somebody else. But Warner Brothers Interactive came out and said that there is a sequel in the works for this game. I never got that far into it. It was an okay game. I just didn't care. I'm not a big Harry Potter fan.
I am going to pick it up because it's a PS5 Pro enhanced game, so I want to check it out now.
Yeah, I don't even know if I got this physical. I mean, I think I may have got this game digital. I can't remember.
Yeah, see, I can't do that stuff. I just can't do it. It's not worth it.
We don't know a whole lot about it, at least from what I've seen, other than the fact that another game's in the works. But I mean, it was a pretty successful game when it came out.
Yeah,
it got shafted on the awards stuff, but financially did pretty well.
Yeah, people seem to love it, and I mean, it got a lot of awards.
No, it didn't.
No, it didn't. It got snubbed, didn't it?
Yeah, for things not related to the actual game itself, which is crap. But I mean, that's games media for you.
I tell you what, it's like a slam dunk from Michael Jordan.
100% Stellar Blade's gonna get the same treatment. It's gonna get shafted at the awards. That's my game of the year. What are you looking at me like that for?
Oh, you can't hear it, can you?
No, I can't. I just see you looking at me like trying to stare into my soul.
Idiot. I'm just being an idiot. So it looks like, what do we got next here?
Yeah, so this is just something a little funny if you haven't seen it. This one specifically was posted by Anime Corner.
Yeah, I saw this
over on Twitter. But because of yesterday was the 7th, which was the I think it was the same year, 2024, something like that. It might not have been the same year, but it was the date that the if you've watched anime Sword Art Online, that the death game essentially came to an end.
One.
What's that?
Big fan of season 1.
Yeah, it is what it is. But there's I don't know if it was like a person, like YouTuber or somebody, made like a short little 15-minute like news clip that the game kind of ended just because it was like the anniversary. Little broadcast type thing. I can't remember if it might have been the exact year. I can't remember now. Now I'm curious. I need to search this up.
Yeah, I can't remember either. Okay,
I've got to Google this.
Quiet there for a second.
Players became trapped in the game in 2022. So I think 2024 was the actual year in universe that they got out of it.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I found it interesting that 𝐁𝐫𝐚𝐥 finally made it through.
Yeah, right. Oh, this is killing me because this the light novel published from 2002 to 2008.
Oh,
so
wow.
It was an older light novel series.
I didn't know
so
that.
At the time it would have been like in the future. I was trying to pull something up. So no, yeah, it was 2024 in universe that it actually ended. So it was the actual day that the game actually ended. That's why they made that. I needed to double check. For those that actually care about that, I thought it was something funny, stupid. I thought I'd bring it up. And obviously, the last little thing before we get to some of the main topics was, funny enough, this was posted by Bounding in the Comics, and if you don't know, they definitely have a reputation for being one of the worst. The worst of games media when you think of them. But there was a article, or not an article, but a research done at Ohio State University with about 400 some undergrads, where essentially, because this article is poorly written as far as like giving you the actual numbers and statistics that a study actually does. I think it was terribly worded for that. But women actually love playing as what they call highly sexualized characters over, characters that actually look like maybe them in reality. The fact that they published this at all, which goes against, very obviously what these games journalists believe in, because they come out. I mean, let me pull up the article. I mean, the first the first little sentence alone just says everything you know about this, about how they wrote this article. For years, the more terminally online among the mainstream Western video game industry, from developers to journalists to even players, have loudly proclaimed that not only are sexualized female characters somehow harmful to society, but that actually real-world women also find designs outright appalling. Wholesale, not even relevant to, it's somewhat relevant, but not necessary when you talk about an article.
Yeah, it's a little interesting way to put it. Oh, by the way, we ran a poll on here. It looks like 60% of people do want a PS5 Pro.
Of how many people?
I gotta check here.
Oh, it's 5 people.
5 people. So, I mean, that's good.
That's it. You might as well write a study about that. That's big enough sample size, right?
Hard Drive Gamer said hi, Mark, and then also said ew.
Yeah.
Ethereal Sapphire said I still haven't played Hogwarts Legacy. I need to get around to it. Yeah, me too. Yeah. And then Brandon told Mark to be quiet. So
silence chat.
Silent chat. All right, what do we got next, Mark?
Yeah, more or less we can just go straight into our main topics. I don't know. You just talked about the PS5 Pro. Did you want to go a little bit more into that, or just go to the next thing?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I just wanted to go over everything that's different about it and basically go from there. Okay, so this doesn't really matter, but IGN scored it an 8, which is whatever, fine. Let me see. Hold on, double check something here. Okay, so it looks like, trying to find all the actual specs to give some technical deep code. Okay, so first off, it has 2 terabyte SSD already built into it, which is a big upgrade, obviously, from the 1 terabyte. It's twice as large, but the same speed as the original super fast storage. And then I transferred over my 1 terabyte SSD that I had my other one, and actually just ordered a 2 terabyte SSD. So I'm going to swap that out, and I'll have 4 terabytes there on the PlayStation 5 because games they're huge. I mean, they take up so much space. So I think 4 terabytes is a pretty good size to have for a console at this point. With the size of games. So how much do you have in your PC? Because I only have 2 terabytes in my PC.
I think my SSD is only 1 terabyte, but I've got numerous terabytes of just regular hard drive space that I just use for just storage.
So I was going to say I also have a hard drive for the PS5 Pro that stores my PS4 games. So I use the SSD for PS5 games, and then I use my 2 terabyte hard drive for the PS4 games. The only thing about when it comes to you can't play games off of the hard drive. You have to transfer them over, but you can store your games there. So
yeah, plus like when I play games and stuff like that, I don't have like all 100-some games downloaded. That would be ungodly amounts of like terabytes of space it would just eat up for no reason. But I can also download games within like an hour of like any size, from like 5 gigs to like 150 gigs.
See, that's why I've got to have, because I don't have an hour to wait around. Like when I get to play, I barely get to play. It's like I gotta have it ready to go.
Regardless of game size, it doesn't take more than an hour, if that. Sometimes like a 50 gigs, it takes like, maybe 30 minutes to download and install for me.
All right, so here's what we got. Some of the key takeaways here for the PS5 Pro. We've got CPU. It has an 8 times Zen 2 cores at 3.5 gigahertz, and I want to say that the PlayStation 5 was 3.2 gigahertz. Now I'm not going to read off all the numbers because it's not going to mean much to most people. But the GPU has a custom RDNA 2 architecture, 36 cores at 223 gigahertz. So it's the PS5 has upgraded capabilities compared to the base model, offering improved performance, immersion, and beauty in games. There are over 50 games right now at launch that are PS5 Pro enhanced. It looks like, let me see here. I'm trying to make sure that I get all the details. So yeah, it looks like I was right. So the PlayStation 5 had an 8-core, 16-thread processor based on the AMD Zen 2. And the PS5 Pro, hold on, sorry, I had it reversed. The PS5 had the 3.5 gigahertz clock speed, so the PS5 Pro is overclocked. It looks like we also got the graphics in the PlayStation 5 Pro are powered by a chip equipped with 67% more compute units and 28% faster memory than the GPU in the base model. The base PS5 has 10.28 teraflops, while the PS5 Pro has 16.7 teraflops GPU. PlayStation 5 Pro has 16 gigabytes of GDDR6 RAM and an additional 2 gigabytes of DDR5 memory, which PS5 did not have any additional memory. PlayStation 5 Pro has twice the amount of free storage space. Obviously, we said the 2 terabytes, and that's the base model there for that. Looks like the PS5 Pro weighs in at 3.1 kilograms, while the PS5 Pro is at 5.2 kilograms. So definitely a weight difference there. We've got... PS5 Pro has something new called Game Boost mode, and essentially it is Game Boost is what I was talking about earlier for the PS4 games, where it will boost up the game. Essentially put a PS4 game in, it boosts the game up, so better frame rate, better resolution, visuals, stuff like that. And that is exclusive, obviously, to the Pro. We've also got... I think that's hitting all the big points, and obviously PSSR and PlayStation 5 has no DLSS features. So
yeah.
So I mean, you're kind of on the fence of not having any interest in getting it, and then
I don't have any interest in getting it.
Yeah,
everything plays just fine. It looks better, but to me, I've seen upgrades before. It's negligible.
I will say
I made the mistake
earlier,
of the PS4 Pro.
You haven't really seen the upgrades though until you see it in person. The compression on the internet, it's diminishing returns. And when I say diminishing returns, I mean diminishing returns on compression and videos. You just cannot see the difference. You have to see it in person.
It's also negligible because I don't have a 4K TV. I've had the same TV since like 2017.
I had it plugged in today. I had it plugged into my monitor. Or I didn't plug it into my TV yet. So I plugged in my monitor. So I tried it on my 1080p PS3 monitor, and then I tried it on my 1440p ultra widescreen monitor. And I didn't even play in 4K, and it just looked significantly better. So,
I mean, I'm already at the point of, like, if I actually cared about 4K gaming and the fact that so many of these games are coming to PC, I'd rather just put that extra money into just upgrading to PC. And it's because if you really wanted to go high end to get the best out of it, PC is always going to be the way to go. But I will say more flexibility.
I will say there's a little regret. I did not grab the Elgato Stream Deck yet because we need them. We need them especially for Twitch. Oh my gosh, are those a game changer, Mark? When you get that, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. It's
going to be a while.
How much of a game changer that is. It's next on my list. It's just when I can get it. I'm trying to find a deal. I keep bidding on them on eBay and losing. Trying to find a deal because you can get.
At that point, you're gonna have to get lucky, but probably not.
We'll see. I've got lucky before. I'll keep trying.
At that point, it'd just be easier to buy it at MSRP. Just save up for it.
Well, I'm a cheapo, so. All right, so we've got Mario and Luigi Brothership. We spoke on it a little bit earlier, but we didn't
trash on IGN for a 5 out of 10 for it enough.
Not yet. We're getting to that. But no, some of the review scores. So OpenCritic has it at a 79, and Metacritic has it at an 80. That's exactly what we both said. I mean,
yeah, that's what I would say.
That's
like aggregate. That's like Digital Trends 2.5 out of 5. I think it's too low.
Too low.
I mean, Eurogamer and stuff like that. Press Start 7.5 out of 10, a 4 out of 5. Of course, Nintendo Life gave it a 9 out of 10 and stuff like that. But I think a 9's too high. I think a 7 to an 8 is where this game realistically lies.
Who is God is a geek?
I have no idea. Whatever Nintendo deal over on Twitter grabbed it.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, I mean, so what's kind of your thoughts with just say your first opening thoughts with the first 15 minutes of the game? What were your thoughts? Because you've never played a Mario and Luigi game before. You've never played a Mario RPG whatsoever. So what are kind of your thoughts with the opening of the game? No spoilers, obviously. We're not that far.
It's both my favorite and my least favorite Mario and Luigi game. By nature of it being the only one.
I was about to say, what are you talking
But no, I think outside of it, at times, there's too much dialogue where it's like, I just want to get and play the game like this. Because it's kind of RPG-esque, but the story's just not super deep, at least not out the gate. And I think the dialogue goes on a little too long than it needs to in some areas. The actual gameplay, I think, is absolutely fun. Because like when you're running around, obviously Mario's the main, Luigi kind of follows you. There's hit A to jump for Mario, B for Luigi and stuff like that. And there's certain things you can do as far as the puzzles. Early on, it's just getting you used to the world and the character controls and stuff like that. So the ability to create unique puzzles is there with you creating or controlling two different characters. But also the combat. It's what you would call turn-based combat, but there's also unique ways to dodge and counter the enemy. So what you do is different. You can jump on an enemy, but you can use Mario and Luigi to they use each other to get multiple hits on an enemy and stuff like that, to do more damage and stuff like that.
Later,
but
you'll
the enemies have
moves to be able to use like Mario and Luigi at the same time for a stronger move and things like that.
I'm still early on where it's just a lot of basic attacks and stuff like that. But no, there's you also have to deal with the enemies. Not only can they hit, obviously, if you just don't do anything, they're going to hit you and do damage, but you can both dodge and counter. But the way enemies attack you is a little different. You kind of have to learn how different enemies, their attack patterns work in battle. That way you can both dodge and, say stomp on them as you're dodging to do more damage and stuff like that, which is a unique thing to kind of keep you on your toes during the combat and stuff like that.
Yeah, I always love the counter attacks, and then obviously the way that you can dodge moves in Mario and Luigi games.
Yeah, because every single enemy has a different way it's going to come out and attack you and stuff like that. So you're constantly having to learn and be aware of what types of enemies you're going to do.
So you'll have to use a hammer. But I always love the ability of being able to strike the enemy twice if you time correctly, which you get good at timing correctly too, and it helps in later battles. Let me tell you, in Mario and Luigi Partners in Time, the final boss battle is an absolute nightmare. I remember as a kid, and this would have been around the time that me and you were hanging out playing games and stuff for the GBA and DS, but I got it around that time, and I was like hardcore into the DS at the time. Like I had a collection bigger than I have now. And I just absolutely loved it. But I remember having to do that boss battle probably 100 times before I beat it. So like it does amp up in difficulty, always does. You obviously unlock new moves and new things, and we don't know where the story's going to take us. So I'm excited to see, what happens with the game. Do you plan to see it through?
I might stream it 1 or 2 more times. No idea if I don't plan on beating the game on stream. We'll see if I actually properly get around to beating it. I'm sure I will eventually. But I mean, it seems like it's a fairly large world and stuff like that.
You could probably beat
because
it
you're essentially on a ship going around, having to like reconnect a bunch of other islands and stuff, bringing them together. It's not spoiler. It's pretty early on in the story and stuff like that. But it's kind of unique because you only have like mini islands and stuff like that, but you also have apparently 4 large lighthouses and stuff that you eventually need to go to. But you're also on a ship, so like there's like a mini map, and you have to go around different currents to get to different islands. But it's not like a fast travel thing. Like you have to wait for your ship to move around, get within range of the next island. So it's like you're actually in the world moving around and stuff like that.
Yeah.
As well as you'll see as you go through. You'll go through certain worlds, but there's very obvious different areas where you have to get power-ups, or you have to have reconnected the island back to your main ship to then unlock other areas. So there's always a reason to go back to the different worlds. Though once you've unlocked an island, it's a straight little fast travel. More people will come to your main ship. You can go back, buy different things, upgrade different stuff. So there's a reason to complete the game, and always at least early on, an initial reason to go back to different areas to collect more things, as well as if you have a achievement bone, there are what you call different challenges that you can do to unlock, different different gear awards and stuff like that, or just like little power-ups you can use. One of them's like, hey, you need to win 300 battles, or win 300 battles without having any kind of like gear or stuff powered up. So there's like little achievements and stuff like that if you want to like challenge yourself to different things in the game as well. So, but for like a little platformer RPG type game, I don't think it's like the hardest thing in the world from what I've played, but it's a nice type of game that you could hop in, do an island in about a half hour to an hour, and then come back to it later. So you could hop in for like 30 minutes, do an island, and then do another island tomorrow or something like that.
Yeah,
it's not a game you need to sit down and play for a significant amount of time. They're like when I took it, they're like kind of like mini little dungeons, kind of like in the Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild. You have those mini dungeons, and then you have your overall larger, bigger dungeons kind of later on, is what it felt like.
Yeah, I haven't made it as far as you. I literally just shot out the cannon to the first island, so I've made it nowhere near where you have. But I'm glad to hear that you're enjoying it, and I think it is a good game. I would love to see you see it through, because I like watching your streams. I like when you stream. And I feel like you could probably beat it in 3 or 4 streams, honestly.
If they're more than like 2 hours, I need it. It feels like it's a longer game, but
they're usually like 15, 20-hour games usually. So
yeah, but I guess
we'll see. We'll see. What else we got next?
Ooh, got me burping.
Caught you
Switch
lurping.
news. I feel like I've been burping all day. We got some news. This actually kind of came out the same day you were streaming Metaphor. I think it was on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Where we did get no announcement. The only thing about the Switch 2 that we got is the fact that we're going to get it for sure an announcement in the next like 5 months. That news hasn't changed. They just verified it, that this window is always this big. We just assumed we were going to get it the fall, but it's kind of starting to feel like they're not going to announce it probably this year. Probably going to be next year, which means the release window is probably getting pushed to September, October timeframe for the console release if they wait till the end of this window.
Yeah, which is shocking to me that it's not going to release in the spring. I feel like there's still a chance of it getting announced before spring and it coming out in spring. But like you said, they made the statement of the 5 months, and that's how they always do it. But Nintendo does lie, and they do have to sort of lie to the public about a specific date or time until they're ready to really make the announcement.
They just gave a window, but from what was said, and we don't know, obviously things are changing, but the president came out and says their plans haven't changed from when they plan to announce it. So from what they're saying is they have a date they plan to announce it, and that hasn't changed. It's just not when we thought they were going to announce it. It's what it's starting to feel like.
Yeah, so I mean, and also we got the news, which is I would say the bigger of the news is that it's backwards compatible. So we confirmed that we are working with carts again. So my guess is it's going to be like the 3DS to DS carts, where there's going to be a notch in the Switch 2 carts that prevent it being stuck into a DS. That's my guess.
To prevent trying to use the newer ones backwards. But I also assume the newer ones are going to just have better memory and stuff like that.
Oh, for sure.
Just because, but yeah, I assume they're going to have something that way you can't put a Switch 2 cartridge into a Switch, and it obviously isn't going to work type thing. But I think it works better because, they went away from essentially flash storage because, discs were just better. But now we're at the point where if you want to call it flash storage has caught back up to where discs are. If not, they're arguably better at storing and being a little faster with the load time. So it seems like that's where Nintendo wants to go. As well as if you want like a handheld, disc is not good for handheld. The ability of skipping and scratching and stuff like that. Yeah. You want to stick with a more cartridge, and that's what they've always done with their handhelds. It's always a cartridge.
Yeah.
Which it was for the longest time limiting, but that technology's caught back up to where, DVD and Blu-ray discs are, where it's kind of negligible.
Yeah, for sure. And I still do feel very confident that we're going to be at the level of working around probably like a Steam Deck OLED, Asus ROG Ally X sort of level. I think you
just have to be somewhat competitive outside of just your first party. Like, it's going to sell regardless. But there needs to be a reason to where you want to get this first before you get like a ROG Ally or a Steam Deck.
Yeah, for sure. I'm glad, obviously, it's backwards compatible. That's important, and I pretty much called that. I mean, I think we kind of all thought that.
Here's the question: what do you think the price point's going to be for it?
I think it's $400. I think $400, $399.
Hey, I just don't think that you can go over $400. But that's assuming whatever the specs are going to be on the announcement, like how much of an upgrade is going to be. What's the equivalent of the console, the PlayStation, and the Xbox? So that's going to really drive the price tag.
Thomas Isaac said PS5 Pro is a must better game console than base PS5. So, just coming at Mark there.
I don't know.
But yeah, I think as far as the Switch stuff, I think it's what it's going to be. It's like a notch type deal, preventing it from going into the Switch 1. And it's obviously going to be beefier with more storage and more capabilities. So that's kind of my thoughts with that. But we also got kind of non-news. We had the financial report for Nintendo, obviously. So what we're looking at, they basically got headlines for the Zelda movie as well as the next Mario Brothers movie. So when they shared that the Switch 2 is backwards compatible, they also shared that the Zelda movie will be released before the end of the decade. I can't make this up. Before the end of the decade. So the timeline is 2026. We're looking at the next Mario movie, which I would have thought next year, but
2029. Well, technically, depending on who you count, you have up until 2030 to release this game.
Technically, yeah.
Depending on how you count decades, do you start say in 2030 or 2031? Because there's arguments that the decade starts.
Well, it says 2020, so it's the latest 2029, I would assume.
I'm just saying there's a semantic argument to say the decade in the last year of our current decade is 2030, not 2029.
Yeah, it's true.
Considering how you want to count a decade.
They also said, in the field of visual content, we are making direct investments and are deeply involved in the planning and development of multiple productions. Nintendo President Shintaro Furukawa said. The Super Mario Bros. Movie, a joint production with Illumination, was released in April last year and was viewed by theaters by approximately 170 people. This film was enjoyed by people of all ages, regardless of gaming experience, making Mario more familiar to a broader audience than ever before. Looking ahead, we are creating a new animated film based on the world of Super Mario Bros., set for theatrical release in April 2026. Additionally, we are planning and developing a live-action film of The Legend of Zelda. So those are his words there during the investor meeting. So,
and I assume just based off Nintendo being really protective of their IP, mistakes of the past in the 90s, from both gaming and media, if this movie is any quality of what they've dealt with the Super Mario Bros. Movie, you need to have some amount of faith. But is a live action movie better than like a 3D CG movie with
it's going to be tough. It's tough. It's hard to say.
They have to do it right, but I do think it needs to be, obviously the nature of it. Just it's probably going to be, and it needs to be somewhat darker than what Mario is.
Yeah, it's got to be.
It has to have at least. You would say at least a PG. I think it would be better off as like a PG-13 movie, but I don't know if Nintendo has like the guts to want to go that route.
I have the weird feeling that it's going to be Ocarina of Time based and around the Deku Tree and sort of different
that's like
points.
every Zelda game for the most part. Not every, but
what? What are you talking about?
There's a lot of Zelda games that come around like the Deku Tree and stuff like that.
Yeah, but not in the way that Ocarina of Time does it. But I have a feeling that it's going to be young Link, and it's probably going to be, the hero of time.
Okay, here's a better question. Does this tie into the new timeline at all, or is it going to be its own thing?
It's going to be its own thing for sure. For sure.
Well, then why not just start at the very beginning? Why start in the middle somewhere?
Because
or do you go
here's
back
the
to
argument with
that.
that.
Retell the original game.
The argument with that is, how do you tell the original game when there is like pretty much there's a story, but it's a non-story. And same for Zelda 2, which is a future game. So it's like, where do you pick to start? Like picking Zelda 1 is kind of.
If you want to base it off of a game and you want some amount of freedom, the original Zelda game would be where you want to go, because you have a base outline, but you can build on it so much more because the story is so.
The story is it's dangerous. Take this. I mean,
no, but like that's both iconic, and it allows them to have some flexibility. Like outside of getting all these Triforce pieces, you have some freedom to actually tell a story in that world.
That's true.
It can look like a Breath of the Wild.
I want it to be its own thing.
You're not restricted to being like, oh, you changed this from the Ocarina of Time story. I don't like this. You can avoid a lot of those problems. And then from there, you can just do your own thing.
I think people need to mind their business and let Nintendo do whatever they want to do.
The problem is they've done that in the past, and they gave us the Mario movie from the 90s.
Yeah, Mark, that was a long time ago.
The Zelda CDI games.
I'm sorry, but Zelda's Adventure is a good game.
This is terrible. All those CDI games.
It is the reason we have Echoes of Wisdom.
100% it's not.
100% it is. You play as Zelda.
You know what? Well, excuse me, princess. Not from the game, it's from the cartoon, but
coming back around, the Pokemon TCG Pocket, it passed 30 million downloads in 9 days, which is insane. I don't know what Pokemon Go's record was, but I feel like this is bigger.
Now I'm curious. You know what? You bring that up. I gotta Google it.
But I mean, 30 million downloads in 9 days is absolutely bonkers.
No, it's insane.
Yeah, it looks like so apparently it has made $12 million in 4 days.
That's a lot of money, considering you're mainly just getting peripherals when you spend actual money in the game.
Yeah,
but with 30 million, you need
$5
from like half of those to make that much money.
It says Pokemon TCG Pocket is earning around $3 million a day, making over $12 million in just 4 days. That's more than the eternally popular Pokemon Go is currently making on app stores, according to estimates. If Pokemon trading card game Pocket keeps that revenue pace up, it'll make over $1 billion a year. Absolute. Nintendo, or not Nintendo, I guess it would be the Pokemon company, knocked it out of the park with this. Absolutely knocked it out of the park.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, this is just insane. These are insane numbers.
This is not the same. This is an article back from 2022. But in 2022, Pokemon Go had, I lost the number, had 678 million downloads worldwide. And in 2022, it had made about $6 billion.
So this is on track to outpace that for sure. I mean, the game's only been out for 9 days.
It'll be a little bit, you'd have to probably search a little bit more for like the first month of that game. You have to go probably way back to like 2016 when the game launched. But I do know that game was massively popular, even among people that had never played Pokemon games before.
Which this is too, because I know people that are doing it who aren't really. But it just
doesn't feel
fans.
Like it has the same. It hasn't caught the cultural zeitgeist like Go did to the same degree. Like that.
It's only been 9 days, Mark.
But Pokemon Go did the same thing in the same the first month.
It 30 million downloads. That's insane.
It's also a free mobile game.
And so is Pokemon Go.
Yeah, but like you don't feel the cultural impact of a game like this like Pokemon Go did.
I don't think that we have
Pokemon
yet.
Go did better.
And I don't know if that can happen again in the same way. Pokemon Go was like
I don't think it will.
It came out at the right time. Like it was the right time for Pokemon. And non-Pokemon fans were playing it. It's a different type of game. You know what I mean? Now it's like its own genre, but it's a different type of game where it's definitely non-traditional Pokemon. You have all these areas that you have to explore at Pokestops and things like that all over, the real world map. It was just a unique idea. And it was something totally different. So
I was trying to look at something. If what I'm looking at is right from businessofapps.com, it looks like in 2016, Pokemon Go had about 232 million users.
220. Okay, so this is probably going to surpass that pretty quickly, I think. I have a good feeling it's going to. I mean, 30 million, 9 days, and it's already made $12 million. It's making an impact.
It maintains that pace.
What is it?
That's assuming it maintains that pace.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. For sure. We got more Pokemon-esque news with Power World. So I can't read all of it, but we got the actual reports for the lawsuits. So one of the headlines reads, Power World developer reports Nintendo suing over 3 Pokemon patents for only $66,000 in damages. But a video game IP lawyer says fighting the lawsuit could mean burning millions of dollars.
So it comes down to if you just pay them, what is it? What losses do you incur though?
Right.
Is it worth actually fighting this in court? If you actually have a chance, because Power World probably has hundreds of millions of dollars available to actually fight this if they want to. Is it worth the time and the money? And if they were to cave, like, what do they lose? What would be the ramifications of them not fighting the lawsuit itself?
Right, yeah. Yeah, I feel like obviously the way to go is to just pay them.
I think this settles out of court, but the actual details, it has to be more than just damages that they want probably done. Do they have to pay something else in the term of like, well, you're using our patent, so you're going to pay us
like a royalty or something?
Yeah. 100%. I don't think this is going to end up in court because they usually don't. They usually end up getting settled out of court because both sides will. It's financially, but neither of these sides wants to actually go to court. It's going to cost both of them millions of dollars.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But if Nintendo wants to settle this out of court, they're going to have to give the Power developer something in return that would not like financially crush them, outside of just say this much money in damages. But if Nintendo says, well, we want 50% of your royalties, that's like, no, we're not going to give you that much money type thing. So I think there's a lot of details that we're more than likely probably just never going to know behind the deals or behind the scenes of this actual deal.
Yeah.
But it's interesting they're only claiming that much money, which means
it's kind of a lot lower than I would have thought.
This feels like they're just suing them on the
the principle
because they have to, because of the principle, because of perceived.
They're making a statements.
Well, no, because it's one of these things, and it's because a lot of times you see lawsuits and you're like, that seems kind of stupid, but there's like I guess the best example I've seen is that most people could say deal with. Say you own like a plot of land and you've got like no trespassing signs. Someone trespasses, but you don't actually charge them with anything. Well, in the future, if you do, the time you didn't can be used against you, and you can lose your legal protections. So it's essentially the idea of, to have your legal protections, you have to file a lawsuit and fight this in the courts, or you lose protections in the future. So this could be that suit that, regardless of whether it's true or not, Nintendo has to fight this, because if they don't, they could potentially, and it's different country, different laws, but they could lose certain protections, copyright and patent infringement protections in the future, because they didn't.
Right. Yeah.
So it could be one of those things, and people go after Nintendo all the time, but it's like, a lot of times, obviously Japan's a different country, but a lot of this stuff, when you're dealing with copyright and stuff like that, you have to go after people, because you have to protect your copyright, your patents. Because if you don't, and you choose not to, and it could be perceived as you not caring, and then you can completely lose those protections in the future, which I think a lot of people don't, just see surface level stuff and don't actually dig deeper into the law, because it's confusing. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
I just wanted to shout out, we've got Morticia over there on TikTok, Fab Packs, Bobby C, Garage Top, Kai, Cam, Sky High 8, CJ, and Trey. And then we've also got over there on the YouTube chat, 𝐒𝐫𝐢𝐨95 is asking about you, Mark. He always watched your trail streams. And Mr. Coffee said, I still see people go around playing Pokemon Go. Mr. Coffee said, breaking news, Tony Todd passed away at 69. I'm going to have to look that up. Yeah.
I need to get back into trails, but there's so many games to play.
Yeah, that is unfortunate. He was Candyman, so that's what I always saw him as.
See that? I think I forgot to put that in the notes initially.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I wonder if there's a reasoning.
You say that, there's something else I thought I saw.
No information about the death has been made public, apparently. So,
which is pretty normal out the gate.
Yeah.
It needs to be with the family and stuff first before they usually release stuff. No, but you brought that up because this was back on the first, but I didn't think it was super relevant. But the Ryu Kono, I didn't completely butcher the name. The art director for Mob Psycho 100, Devilman Crybaby, and Space Dandy passed away.
Oh, that's
she
sad.
Also worked on Beck, Perfect Blue, Paranoia Agent, and Carol. But I believe she passed away the Tuesday before actual Thanksgiving, was what it was kind of listed as.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's
a little less relevant, but people that work on a lot of stuff that I'm sure somebody's seen. Those are really well-known titles and stuff like that.
Apparently, Tony Todd was the voice of Venom in Spider-Man 2 for the PS5.
There's been a lot of deaths this past year, but
there has
every year. Just a lot of people always passing away, unfortunately.
Yeah, it is very unfortunate. I didn't know that he played the voice of Venom in the game, though. That's crazy.
No, but it is. What else did he work on?
He was in all kinds of stuff. So some of the things that I saw here, obviously the big one for me is Candyman, but he was in The Crow. He was in Platoon, Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen, Final Destination 5, Wishmaster.
A lot of Final Destination movies.
Night of the Living Dead, Candyman, The Man from Earth, 24, Redemption. Looks like he was also in Lean on Me, Enemy Territory, Sleepwalk. Let's see, what other big ones?
Don't miss Platoon.
Yeah, I said that.
This is the big one.
Driven.
Oh, I guess I may have missed you saying that. Sorry.
No, you're good. He was in Babylon 5, A Call to Arms, Final Destination 1. He was also in Final Destination 2.
Did you say The Rock? Because he was in that
I
one as well.
missed that one. Yeah, he was in that.
I was going through. I was on Wikipedia just going through the whole like movies and stuff like that.
Yeah, he was in a lot of movies. A lot
of stuff actually.
Yeah, there's a huge list. I can't read everything off, but yeah, there's some big ones. It looks
I was
like
just trying to go through to see if there's anything else that you hadn't said that I missed.
He's in Arachnophobia, which is a pretty good horror movie.
Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen as a voice.
Yeah, he did the voice. He voiced Darkseid in Reign of the Supermen. Yeah, Sky Sharks. He was Major General Frost. Tales from the Hood 3. He played William. So he was in a lot of stuff, man. A lot of stuff. Wow. Yeah, it's very unfortunate. That's not that old either.
No, not at all.
But he was also he did some voices in what looks like to be some TV series like 21 Jump Street, MacGyver, Matlock, The X-Files, Law and Order, Star Trek, The Next Generation,
X-Files,
Hercules, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, NYPD Blue, Xenia Warrior Princess. Yeah, he was in all kinds of stuff, TV and movies. Wow,
old Hercules and stuff like that.
He was in quite a few. He voiced quite a few video games too, including The Legend of Dragoon, which is probably my favorite JRPG of all time for the PS1. Also Half-Life 2 Episode 2, Dota 2, Call of Duty Black Ops 2, Star Trek Online, Artifact, Layers of Fear 2, Half-Life Alyx, Back 4 Blood, Spider-Man 2, and he's in it's not even out yet, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. So,
actually, I didn't realize that still I was going through some stuff. I actually remember him from one very specific show and a very specific episode. So he played Lord Hycon from an episode of Season 9 of Stargate SG-1.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, those that have seen it, Season 9, where they were doing with the Sudan Warriors and stuff like that.
Yeah, I
didn't realize who he was. I actually saw him in that. Because that's a huge TV show that I absolutely love.
Oh, yeah. He was Deep Space Nine as well. So, yeah, that's super unfortunate. So
yeah, it really is.
Yeah, thoughts go out to the family and friends. And then I wanted you to go over this, just kind of get your quick thoughts, because since you know a little less about Godzilla, but I threw one Godzilla thing in there. It was just an interesting little article talking about kind of comparing the MonsterVerse to some of the older Godzilla films and sort of the take of how the MonsterVerse is set up from the older films, from like the show and the Heisei era. And I just kind of wanted to get your thoughts sort of on that. So
the comparison, I just don't think the MonsterVerse is at the same quality of the old Godzilla movies, but I just don't think it has the charm of those movies.
I have been going down a Godzilla deep dive the past 4 or 5 days, listening to these very long retrospectives. Yeah, going over every single. I've watched every single movie, but I still like to learn. There's like these facts and details that I learn and didn't know and things like that. And yeah, man, I love Godzilla, man. I really do. I think that, you know, having the Japanese Godzillas and then the Americanized Godzilla at the same time is actually really cool, and it's not something I would have ever predicted. So
they're good movies, but
they're popcorn flicks.
Heavy CG, it's just not I prefer the old ones. Like, I'll say this, my two favorite Godzilla movies are both done by Toho. It's the OG Godzilla, and then it's -1, just because there's like only a handful of movies that deal with Godzilla as an actual villain, not like an anti-hero.
But which please take the time. So I highly recommend the Criterion release of the original Godzilla.
I've seen that one.
The Criterion physical release.
Oh, okay.
I highly recommend it. It has so much extras in that movie, including both the Gojira version of the film and the Godzilla version of the film. Gojira is the way to watch it. I'm sorry, the Godzilla that we got was so dumbed down with the news reporter. It was just.
Well, to be fair, I've only ever watched the original in the with Japanese audio. I've never watched the English dub version of the original Godzilla.
It's worth watching once to see the differences, because basically it was just taking that film and then you had an actor that was filming different segments that had nothing really. It wasn't in the movie. So
yeah, I mean, I guess I'll say this. Dubbing works good with animation because the format works better. I've never liked or think live action dubbing actually works. It just comes off as bad because the voice just can never match the actual body on screen. You just know it. So every time I've watched like a live action foreign film, I'll always watch it with subtitles and never in English because it's never good.
Yeah.
Where obviously animation is a whole different medium, or not a whole, but it's a different medium where it works. It can work. Where in live action, I just don't think it can ever work as well, regardless of the quality of voice action.
Sure.
Even though, to be fair, with a lot of those had like bottom of the barrel voice actors, super cheap.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, I guess to kind of close out the podcast, what is your favorite kaiju that you're aware of?
My favorite. I feel like saying Godzilla would be a cop-out. But I think it might be Godzilla.
Interesting.
Why? What's yours? I guess I don't know, it depends between Godzilla and Mothra.
Destroya is Destroya and Mechagodzilla 2 are my two favorites, I gotta say.
There's a lot of kaiju movies that I haven't seen, though, to be fair. And the ones I have
look
seen
up
like
Destroya. Look up Godzilla vs. Destroya, and you'll understand why it's my favorite. It's one of the coolest designs ever.
I'll say King Kong's one of my least favorite. I've never cared for Godzilla, but
you never cared for Godzilla?
No, I never have.
You just said you liked Godzilla.
I like him in the newer stuff, but as a whole, is one of the weaker ones. If you consider, I guess I better explain. All the movies together, I think it's one of the weaker ones.
Godzilla?
No, King Kong.
Oh, I like him as a character. I love King Kong.
I think he's okay in the MonsterVerse, but any of the older stuff, I just think he's just not good, and I don't care for him.
I have a soft spot for all of it. Peter Jackson's King Kong is really good. It was just very long. So. But yeah, I think Destroya is probably my favorite kaiju next to Mechagodzilla 2. The second design, I think, is absolutely amazing. And then, I mean, as far as favorite movies for me, it goes Gojira. And then I always go back and forth with Tokyo SOS, which a lot of people don't like. I love it. And Destroy All Monsters. So,
fair enough.
Those are probably my favorites. But do you have anything else this week, Mark? Any special mentions? Any plans this weekend? Or
no, I think we hit everything. Obviously, we're live streaming tomorrow at 8 like we always do. But past that,
what are we playing this week?
I think it's the Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. That's what you wanted to play. So,
well, I mean, it's a newer game, so that we at least get our money's worth and stuff like that. But I think I do want to do this soon. I picked it up so that we could do streams since it's cheaper. It's, like I said, I used my $5 off on it. It was around like $20, and this is a pretty recent game, so I've been holding out. I just didn't want to pay $60 for it, but I was thinking, like, I had you in mind. I was like, oh, okay, another anime game that'd be fun to play because we've only played a few, so why not? Plus, you get all the characters from all the series. It's pretty crazy. Tons and tons of characters, and it's not a traditional fighter. It's like Sparking Zero, where it's very non-traditional. So it's not like a side-scrolling 2D fight or anything like that. And you were kicking my butt on...
I don't know. Until I fought an actual fight. I think it was just cheesing the power-ups.
Well, do you have anything that you want to plug? Anything else to plug here?
Obviously, you got more content coming out on the Junction Network channel to definitely check out moving forward. But other than that, like, we got everything.
Yeah, and then I have a video that will be coming out. I haven't decided whether I'm going to do it for this weekend or just hold off and have it on the regular Wednesday. But I've got about half of it edited, and that will be coming out. Super excited about that video. And then after that, I've got a special project video I'll tell you about, Mark, afterwards, that I'm going to do. That's sort of just kind of a dedication to something that I love. So I'm really excited. It's going to be different, something entirely different from the channel. But it's going to fill in that pop culture space. It's not going to be gaming straight related, but it's going to be pretty cool. So we appreciate everybody watching. Of course, we're on all audio platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, everything. We're on everything, basically. Just follow us. Give us a follow, rates, and downloads do help out a lot. If you are an audio listener, if you could go over to our YouTube channel and give us a subscribe there, and you can watch a video podcast, it definitely would help a lot. Transferring the audiences and getting to see us and getting to know us in video form too is great as well. And then we'll also have the Anime Junction Cast. We're doing videos of that on Spotify. So that's getting uploaded there and on other platforms as well. So definitely a lot to look forward to, tons of new content. And then we are going to continue the stream schedule. Mark, I think that I'm probably going to dedicate Wednesdays. I know I did Tuesdays this week, but I think I'm going to dedicate Wednesdays, and then I'm going to try for Mondays. That's one where I can't put it on the schedule because I don't know for sure. But we've got me streaming on Wednesdays. We've got Thursday. You won't be streaming next Thursday, correct?
I can't. The problem is my Monday through, I guess technically Thursday schedule is just way too inconsistent to have a consistent schedule.
Okay, so we know for sure, obviously, the podcast.
The consistent for me streaming alone, Sunday's the consistent day, and if I can stream that week, or I might pop in randomly, but I can't. It can't be a consistent stuff, so it's not going to be like on the schedule like as.
Okay,
like
so we've got obviously the podcast 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time live every single week on Twitch and YouTube, as well as TikTok. And then we stream every Saturday at 8 p.m. It's going to be different games. We'll announce what games we're playing. And then Mark is going to be streaming whatever he wants to play on Sundays. What time? 12 p.m.?
Yes, it's noon Eastern.
Okay, awesome. So we appreciate everybody watching, listening, liking, subscribing, all that stuff. And we will be back again next week. Thanks, everyone, and have a good one.